All right, so the next posse that we're talking about here is another one that doesn't necessarily change the mechanics, the fundamental mechanics of the game, but it does add some really cool flair, and that is the Los Hermanos, Montaña Azul and Los Hermanos.
Right. You'll see, we give you a teaser for Montaña Azul in the core game. If you look at the turn counter, it's a watch.
Yeah.
And you'll see in Montaña's artwork, he's looking at his watch, and if you are a Western fan, you'll know where that comes from. And if not, watch more Westerns.
What's wrong with you?
Anyway, these things become, his posse, and let me just say something to that. We also wanted to make sure that as we were introducing new posses, we didn't overload you with all these gameplay changes. It's a lot to keep track of. And even though over time, you'll be like, oh yeah, I want to play with this posse because I want to add this gameplay in there. We recognize that there may be a night where you have a bunch of people who have never played board games before or are not as savvy as you are in terms of your gameplay. And we wanted this thing to have some posses that enhance without radically changing the gameplay. So Montaña is one of those posses. Now his posse comes with a saloon tile.
Right. Yep.
And his whole posse of Hermanos introduces a minor gameplay tweak, but that is that he brings back. He has cards that bring back some of his players.
Respawning. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a huge game changer. If format-wise, it doesn't really change the game, but in actual gameplay, thinking that you've killed his people down to 2, and he brings.
And then they just pop out of the windows.
And they start shooting through the windows at you. You're like, I already killed that guy.
Yeah.
So these are all things that, like I said, that they don't radically change the gameplay, but they do have significant impact on the game itself during gameplay.
And he's kind of also the first posse that speaks to a player's preference of style of how they like to play. So a lot of these characters, like Elsu's Warband, sort of does that because it's about like specialists. It's a squad of very unique specialists, and so for somebody who can really think like that, it's a great posse for that. But the Hermanos is really for somebody who just loves strength in numbers. He just loves taking a bunch of stuff and throwing it at a problem and seeing what happens. They've got some really cool, colorful solutions, like respawning. But they also have like bottle bombs, where they're always chucking explosives everywhere and lighting everything on fire.
And there's something that happens when you realize that distributed in your deck are some respawn cards. You tend to take some pretty big risks because
I'll just bring him back.
This guy's coming back. If he gets wiped out, no big deal.
No big deal. They're like a swarm of bees. That's like how I like to describe them. So if you're that kind of person, that kind of player that likes to do that, or you're somebody who just, like Brad was saying, was that you just want some other posses that you can bring more people into the table without the need of another rule book, the Los Hermanos is the posse for you.
Yeah.